Hi everybody, this is Natalie Willis, founder of Baby Sleep Trainer. I help families around the world get their babies to sleep through the night and take healthy naps using my book, my online courses, and one-on-one consultations. And today I want to talk to you about newborn sleep schedules. I really don't like associating the word newborn with the word schedule. I suppose anything is possible, and if it's really important to you, you can try to force your newborn to be on a schedule. But the one thing that biologically characterizes newborn sleep is chaos. Newborns only sleep in REM and non-REM sleep 50% of the time for each. But other than that, there's not really a whole lot of rhyme or reason around when they're in REM versus non-REM sleep. So it's not like they will sleep for 100 minutes and 50 will be in REM and 50 will be in non-REM. It might be one nap that's entirely almost REM, another one that's entirely non-REM, one where they keep going out back and forth from one another. Their melatonin output during the day is not really regulated. So they are maturing in these first 4 months of their life into a pattern that is going to be more discernible, that you will be able to mold into a schedule. But a schedule isn't really that beneficial for a newborn and can actually bring a lot of frustration and anxiety to the family, and especially to the parent who's trying to force a child who's not a human, who's not really ready to accept a pretty rigid schedule. What I prefer to use is a pattern or a rhythm. Okay, and you can absolutely use a pattern or a rhythm to help regulate your child's sleep and get everybody more sleep in the family. I think key to a good pattern or rhythm for a newborn is going to be the eat-wake-sleep cycle. Anytime we talk about newborn sleep, we want to segment it into two different parts. The first part is going to be birth through to 6 weeks, counting from the due date, and then I would say 6 weeks up until about 14, 15, 16 weeks. So the second half is a lot longer. The first 6 weeks are generally characterized by a lot of being asleep through anything. Like, you can take your baby out, and if a fire engine goes by, they're not really gonna wake up. Sometimes they'll have periods of being really awake. Again, a lot of chaos and erratic patterns around their sleep. And can you even have a chaotic pattern, right? The pattern is that it is chaotic. But then once they hit that 6 week mark and they get older, you kind of see that your newborn really wakes up. It's a lot easier to track how long they can tolerate being awake and when they want to take a nap and that sort of thing. But key to getting on a discernible or consistent pattern with your newborn is trying to focus on whenever they wake up, whether it's in the morning at 7 a.m. or at 2 p.m. after a nap, that once they are up and awake, you focus on feeding them, either breast or bottle, combination of both, and that while you're feeding them, you're trying to focus your energy on them taking a full feeding. Now, there are a variety of things that can be going on with a newborn that might preclude them from taking a full feeding, one of which is reflux. Very, very common for newborns to suffer with reflux. Maybe they can't tolerate very much. Maybe a full feeding for your baby is only 2 ounces. That's fine. The important thing is that you try to help them eat and stay awake, right? And some parts of the day, this is going to be easier to do, and other parts it's going to be more difficult. During the newborn stage, the name of the game is really just surviving that time. So anything that brings you additional stress or anxiety is something that you really need to repel. So if the pattern, the eat-wake-sleep pattern, is helping to bring more peace to your chaotic newborn stage, great. But if it's making you feel stressed out or anxious, then abandon it. Pick one time during the day that your baby wakes up directly from a nap, seems really awake, feed them, try to focus on keeping them alert during the entire feeding, and then watch them. Maybe for starting around the 35, 45 minute mark, for most newborns, they're gonna start to show you signs that they are ready to go to sleep. So maybe they stare off into the distance, or they start to get fussy or crabby, or if you feel like you just can't keep them happy and they've been awake for 45 minutes or longer, they probably need to go to sleep. Then you want to take them into another space and you wanna try using anything you can other than feeding them to get them to go to sleep. Pacifier is a great thing to use if your child likes to suck in order to go to sleep. Great, you can swaddle them, darkness, white noise. Try to get them to go to sleep and sleep however long they want to sleep. Once again, very chaotic. So you may get as many 30-minute naps, as many 2-hour naps as you get. Once they wake up, make sure they're completely awake and start the cycle again. Two things: the older a newborn gets, or the closer they get to 14, 15, 16 weeks, the longer that they'll be able to tolerate being awake. They might be that when they're 6 or 7 weeks old, they're ready to nap after 40 or 50 minutes. Maybe once they're 14, 15 weeks old, they can handle 75 minutes. Newborns of any age, the closer they get to dinner time, the longer they're wake times they tend to be. The second aspect of this is picking a wake time of the day. And really, again, it doesn't even need to be a strict wake time. It doesn't need to be, oh gosh, it's 7 o'clock, everybody has to get out of bed. You can do a range. You can say, anytime the baby gets up between 6:30 and 8:30 in the morning, we're gonna assume that that's starting our day. So once you start your day, you start the eat, wake, sleep cycle. So they eat, they're awake for a while, they go to sleep, they wake up, they eat, and it's okay if those cycles only last 2 hours. There's a myth out there that if you train your newborn to tolerate longer periods of not eating during the day, that they're gonna sleep better overnight. I actually don't think that's true. What I found after working one-on-one with thousands of infants is that if they eat more during the day, as newborns, they are more likely to tolerate longer periods of naturally just not having an appetite or a desire to eat overnight. And then 12 hours after you start your day, so if your baby does, let's say, get up around 7 and that's 7 a.m. and that's when you start your eat, wake, sleep cycle, maybe around 7 p.m. at night, 12 hours later, that's when bedtime is gonna be. And all that means is instead of continuing the eat, wake, sleep cycle at that 7 p.m. time that they're going to bed, they're getting a clean diaper, they're getting their jammies, whatever their jammies are, maybe they're getting swaddled if they're young enough, your doctor says it's okay, they're going to sleep. Next time they wake, you're feeding them in the dark with the white noise on. You're not introducing any periods of wakefulness, and you're not introducing any light, most importantly, or very, very minimal light. When you're tending or caring for your newborn or feeding them overnight, try to use light that's indirect, so outside of the bedroom, maybe from an attached bathroom, but nothing in the room. And if you do have to use light in the bedroom, make sure that it's very, very low wattage, 15 watts or the equivalent, or that you're using a red light bulb even. That helps to not disrupt their sleep patterns overnight. But then, if it's 7 p.m. to 7 a.m., they stay in darkness, they don't have any periods of wakefulness, they get up the next morning, that is going to help you adopt a discernible pattern each day. And as you get to know your baby, you'll know, they tend to get really fussy after 15 minutes before noon, and once lunchtime hits and they take that nap in the middle of the day, they tend to be able to wake a little bit longer. You're gonna start to have some expectations that you can rely on until they are to the age where you can sleep train them. And following the eat, wake, sleep cycle, and this next tip I'm going to give you is what's going to help them sleep longer periods overnight. So in addition to keeping an eat, wake, sleep cycle, the other thing that you want to be hyper aware of is not allowing your newborn to sleep for more than 2 hours at a stretch. Some newborns can really only handle 90 minutes at a stretch for any single nap during the day. So they might have multiple 2-hour naps or multiple 90-minute naps, but you don't want any single nap to last longer than that amount of time, which means if your baby's still sleeping at the 2-hour mark, get them up, expose them to direct sunlight, try to really, really, really help them wake all the way, feed them while helping them stay awake, and then keep them awake and continue on the eat, wake, sleep cycle. If you don't allow your newborn to sleep more than 90 to 120 minutes at any single stretch from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m., that is really gonna help their body get into a pattern where, yeah, I can have a 4 or 5 hour stretch as long as the pediatrician says it's okay for your baby to go that long without eating. Yeah, they can have that length of sleep overnight, but they typically can only have one stretch of that length in a given 24-hour period. So if you're letting your baby sleep from 12 p.m. to 5 p.m. because you know what, everybody needs a break, you're exhausted, and you can decide to do that, that is okay. But if they do that during the middle of the day, very unlikely that they're gonna be able to do that overnight. So if you want that 4 to 5 hour stretch to be concentrated overnight, stick with the eat, wake, sleep cycle, and make sure not letting them nap longer than that 90 to 120 minutes. Of course, always make sure to like and subscribe. Also, don't forget to hit the bell because that gives you the notifications. Every time I put out a new video, you will hear about it. You won't miss a thing.